Hey everybody, welcome back to the Vision Cast. Joel Penton here, founder and CEO of LifeWise Academy. On the Vision Cast, we spend a little bit of time on our LifeWise big picture, and then we do some LifeWise storytelling. For our big picture segment, I want to talk about our six-fold LifeWise Pledge. Maybe you've heard this before. If you've been around LifeWise, I'm sure you have heard it. It's one of the original aspects of LifeWise when LifeWise only existed on paper. In fact, before LifeWise had a name, we had the six-fold LifeWise Pledge. As the story goes, back in 2018 is when I was really introduced to the concept of released time religious instruction. I was introduced to this concept through a release time program in my hometown of Van Wert, Ohio. The board of that amazing program that was serving 95% of the entire elementary school invited me to speak at an event and engaged me, asking me to help answer the question, why doesn't every community, why doesn't every city, why doesn't every school district have a program, a release time program like this? And my wheels started turning, and my answer that I brought back to them is, I think that what is required is a plug and play program that can be implemented in any community. Frankly, it's just really hard to pull this thing off because you basically have to start a private school. You got to find facility and curriculum and staffing and funding and branding and technology and insurance, and the list goes on and on and on. And right away, as that vision started coming together that would ultimately become LifeWise Academy, we put onto paper six big picture commitments that LifeWise was going to be all about. Now, we could spend time talking in depth about each and every one of these six things, but I will just breeze through them. This is the six-fold pledge. Number one is that we want to be unapologetically, unswervingly, uncompromisingly gospel-centered. We don't want to simply teach biblical morals. We don't want to simply tell boys and girls to be good little boys and girls. We want to teach children the life-changing, fundamental message of the Bible about a good God who's redeeming his fallen creation through the person and work of his Son, Jesus Christ, his death for sin, his resurrection. It is this gospel that has been changing lives for 2,000 years longer, and that is what LifeWise is going to be all about, and we'll die on that hill. That's number one. Number two is that, with that said, we do want to have a character focus. We know a few things. Number one, we know this is the language of public schools. Schools spend time and money and energy on character education. In fact, I spent 12 years traveling and speaking full-time in public high schools and middle schools, being hired to do character development, character education. So we know schools want and need that, and we know the gospel transforms character. And so we want to go to schools and say, hey, we have what we believe is the best character development program in the country. And that's because it's character transformation from the inside out, brought about by the gospel. So that's number two. Number three is that we want to be local church driven. We don't want to replace or displace the efforts of local churches. Far from it. We want to simply be a tool in the hands of local churches and church leaders to put to work in their community. Sometimes we say LifeWise is just a t-shirt for local churches to put on. It's really to serve their ministry. Number four, we want to be entirely plug and play. Kind of already mentioned that at the beginning, that we want to be able to provide all of the systems and processes, resources, training, curriculum, everything A to Z, so there's no need to reinvent the wheel. You know, in 1952, the Supreme Court ruled that release time religious instruction is constitutional. However, very little happened with it in 70 years, and we believe it's because, as we said, of all the many barriers to entry, all the challenges, and so we want to provide a program that's entirely plug and play so communities can hit the ground running. Number five, we have a nationwide vision. The Supreme Court ruling applies coast to coast, and so while LifeWise is based right here in Columbus, Ohio, we say, hey, why not provide this program coast to coast? And we're so excited that now more than 24 states will have live LifeWise programs next school year. And then number six, the sixth and final part of this six-fold LifeWise pledge is that we want to maintain the highest standards of excellence in everything that we do. We recognize that we are at least two things. Number one, we are ambassadors. We're ambassadors of the King of the universe. I was so fortunate. I got to play some football for the Ohio State University, and on the Buckeye football team, our coach Jim Tressel told us that when we played on Saturdays, we were representing an entire state. We were representing the state of Ohio, and that was a big deal. But with LifeWise, we're representing the King of the universe. And so it's an even bigger deal. We want to represent him well as his ambassadors. And we're also not just ambassadors, we are competitors, not competing with other ministries, but we're competing in the marketplace of ideas. Families, students have a lot of places where they can turn their time and their attention. Netflix has a lot of options, and we believe the gospel is worthy in the marketplace of ideas. And so we want to compete on behalf of our King well. And so again, those 6 things, we've been talking about them since the beginning, are number 1, being gospel-centered, number 2, character-focused, number 3, local church-driven, number 4, plug and play, number 5, for the nation, and number 6 is maintaining the highest standards of excellence. That's the LifeWise Pledge. That's at the heart of everything we are doing with LifeWise. And we are joined now for our LifeWise story we're joined by Krista. Krista, I hope that, Krista, you're a LifeWise parent. You're in Perrysburg. I hope that those 6 qualities have been evident through your experience with LifeWise. Krista, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. And so, Krista, you're in Perrysburg. I've been through Perrysburg. I think maybe I've preached in maybe one church in Perrysburg. Tell us a little bit about how you got connected to LifeWise. What's your LifeWise story?
Sure. I have 2 boys, a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. First and second graders this year at Woodland Elementary in Perrysburg. And the very first time we heard about LifeWise is at something called Jacket Jumpstart, which is kind of when all the families come for the orientation before school starts to meet the teacher. And LifeWise had a table set up, and that's when we learned about it and signed our boys up.
That is fantastic. So you got 2 boys. Was that just this year that they participated?
Yes, I believe this was the first year that LifeWise was actually in Perrysburg schools, which we actually did not realize when we signed them up that this was the first year that they were doing it.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, we're so grateful that you did sign up your boys. And I love... I love that you have 2 boys. We actually have 4 boys, and our house is insane. And so I don't know if your
Yes.
house is like ours, but I find that my boys, tell me if your boys are the same. I feel like my boys are always trying to hurt themselves, like every day, all day. Is that
Yeah.
what you found to be the case as well?
Wrestling, boys are wild, just wild. And I grew up with sisters, so
Yeah.
I'm like, why do we need to hurt each other? It's just a foreign experience to me. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I ask that question all the time. Like my 7-year-old, like, why do you want to do that? Why are you trying that? Excellent. Well, you have one story in particular, I think, of impact. Could you share that with us?
Sure. So, being that this was LifeWise's first year in Perrysburg School District, there were not very many kids initially that were signed up as the program was just getting started. So, my son Calvin was the only kid from his class for a large part of the school year
Oh, wow.
that was going to LifeWise. And one day he came home from school and he was really excited. And he said to me, Mom, can you believe that these people care about me so much that they come every week to pick up just me to spend time with me? And he was really moved by that. And I was as well, that, they continued to come every week and just build into him, even though he was the only child attending from his class. And my other son, Isaac, was actually one, if not the only one attending for a long time from his class as well. But what was cool is to see them get to grow in their confidence on talking to other kids about God through LifeWise, because every week the LifeWise staff would give them these little cards to talk to kids about God in their class and tell them about LifeWise and invite them. And it was really cool to see my kids grow in their confidence of saying to other kids, like, hey, I love God, and like, this is something I'm doing and I'm really excited about. And do you want to join me in it? And both of them were able to invite and get several kids from their class to start coming to LifeWise with them, that they built great connections with. And one or two of those kids actually just attended VBS at our church this week as well with us. So it was really cool to get to see them learn how to invite people in to know about God. So that was another really big bonus there.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, I tell you, I'm often convicted by how, even my children are. I know my son just the other day he was telling me how he was sharing his faith with the lifeguard at the pool. And he's just asking questions, and to see, children inviting their friends and finding joy in the program, finding meaning in it, and saying, I want to share this with others. I want to bring my friends along. Is really powerful. And I can imagine that as a mom, that makes you pretty proud.
Yes, it does. And I would say, we work a lot with our kids on, who God is and what God has done for you. But we hadn't worked as much on the concept of, going out into the world and, telling your friends about God and inviting them in and what that looks like. So this really was, I would say, maybe their first introduction into doing that. And in today's age, that can be hard to do. So it was just really cool to see their confidence grow so much in talking to others about God, and also just their excitement for learning about God. And what I would say is that, oftentimes the night before LifeWise, one of the boys would say, tomorrow's going to be a great day, Mom. And I'm like, what's tomorrow? Like, what's going on tomorrow? And they'd be like, oh, tomorrow's LifeWise Day. So that was something that they frequently, it caused them to look forward to the next day. So to see them so excited about learning about God and to have that zeal for learning about God was a really, really cool thing. And, both of the boys will tell you their favorite special, that's what they call, because they went from library to go to LifeWise, okay, and library is a special. So both boys will tell you their favorite special is LifeWise now, which, if you know how much my boys love gym, that says a lot.
That does say a lot. Holy cow. We hear stories of impact every day, and some of them are so deep and so, but I tell you, the thing that is so consistent is what you just shared, that it's like we always hear that kids, they look forward to it. It's their favorite day of the week. In fact, we see actual statistics of more kids showing up for school on the LifeWise day, of schools seeing attendance go up with the kids who have access to LifeWise. So that is so meaningful to hear. And again, that your kids are able to share that with others. For whatever reason, we live in a culture that's been programmed that we can talk about the movies that we love and invite people to go see those movies. We can talk about the sports we love and invite people to go to those sports. But for whatever reason, the most important things in our lives are faith. We should, not share that with others and not invite others into that, which is silly. And so it's awesome to see that opportunity for your boys. And so good job with them. Thank you for enrolling them in LifeWise and encouraging them. And just appreciate you. And thanks for being on the Vision Cast.
Thank you so much, and for the work that you do.
It is quite a joy. Thanks so much. And everybody who's watching, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.